was not eligible to participate in the presidential goat pass-on scheme tender and had no capacity to deliver 632,001 goats needed by the ministry. Needed by the ministry.
Very well. I think that covers.
Yes.
What? So
yes.
What? So what are you saying?
Right. So my submission, my lord, is that in the same breath, the state is pointing out to black-deck livestock and poultry farming, and also to black-deck private limited. In the same breath.
I don't understand the charge to mean that. I thought the charge is simply saying that a document which was submitted and which purports to belong to Black-Deck Private Limited was fake, and it was used in support of the bid.
Well, my reading was that the first nature of the misrepresentation, which the state alleges, is that there is an existent company when the company is non-existent.
A non-existent company, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, whose name is the name which appears there.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And then the second part is where they then said, in that same tender, the accused person...
That company which doesn't exist?
Yes.
Used a document belonging to Private Limited, which is fake?
Yes.
That is what I understand the charge to be. So there's no issue about whether or not Black-Deck Private Limited exists.
Well, my lord, okay, I do follow.
You do follow that, isn't
I
it?
do follow.
In any event, I think you may be missing the point, Mr. We are not at the point of accepting to the charge.
Yes, we are not.
We have now reached the closure of the state case.
Indeed.
And all you are saying at this stage is that there is no evidence that your client committed the offense. So deal with evidence, not the charge.
Indeed, my lord.
Then you accept the charge at the beginning of the trial. At this stage, we are now dealing with evidence.
Indeed, my lord. I had made the point to give a conspectus of what the accused person is facing. And I indicated in the submissions that one could have
concentrate on the evidence.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed, my lord. So, first with that charge, the state case, which is acting reasonably, can safely convict accused persons. The submission that we make is that the evidence that the state has put in all its material disputes is so unreliable and does not disclose on a prima facie case that the first accused person committed the offense in question. And to this, my lord, we refer to the evidence that has been given by all the witnesses. The first point that we take note and would wish to emphasize is that it has been clear that the first accused, there's no evidence that has been put before the Honorable Court, that the first accused person prepared, submitted any document in the bid to the ministry, to the complainant. All the witnesses have confirmed, all the material witnesses have confirmed that the document was signed off by another official of Black-Deck Private Limited, and it was submitted by a director. My apologies, my lord.
All those files for this case?
Indeed.
We are now paperless. Anyway.
Indeed, my lord. It may arise that you may need to...
Yeah, that is come at any time. Proceed.
Especially the exhibits. So what the state said to prove is what it then alleges in this charge sheet. And what we must glean from the charge sheet is when was the misrepresentation allegedly done and in what form. That is, those are the key critical questions that must be answered. It is clear, my lord, from the charge sheet that the misrepresentation is alleged to have been done in a document in writing form, which has been presented as Exhibit 14. That is the bid in respect of Black Deck Private Limited, otherwise known as Black Deck Livestock and Poultry Farming Private Limited. This is where the misrepresentation is allegedly made. And the misrepresentation is being alleged to have been made in the participation of the tender in the bidding process. So we must be then clear that the participation that this court must then focus on is prior, during, and the award of the tender. Anything that surpasses what transpired after the tender had been awarded would therefore not be relevant for purposes of the misrepresentation, because the state makes the allegation that acting on the bid document, the ministry awarded the tender to a non-existent company and awarded the tender to a company that it genuinely believed had all the necessary papers that are required in a tender. So the evidence that then must be relevant and which in our respectful submission must be considered by this honorable court is the evidence that transpired ending up with the submission of the bid. None of the state's witness has given any evidence to the effect that the first accused person is the one that prepared, that signed off the bid, and that submitted the bid to the ministry. So, with that alone, it is our respectful view that the state's case collapses on that point. The material part of the evidence of the state is that one gift one teach them is the one that signed off the bid, and that
most of the things that the submissions that you are making appear in the written submission.
Indeed, my lord.
The whole idea is to, just in a nutshell, explain to the court the basis of the application. In a nutshell. Maybe by now you'll be through.
Very well, my lord.
Because when I read the application itself, the where you say it's submissions in brief,
yes,
those are the grounds of the application, isn't it?
Yes.
The rest would be maybe dealing with evidence, detailed submissions, but the basis of the application should be clear from what you termed details. If I understand well, it's very articulate the way you put it there. You say that the bid did not belong to the accused.
Yes.
But they belong to a company.
Yes.
Duly registered in terms of the laws of Zimbabwe.
Yes, my lord.
And you identify the company as Black Deck Private Limited.
Yes, my lord.
And that it is the company which submitted the bid.
Yes.
And then certain people who are named there, it was Tish Dembo signed.
Yes.
And there's therefore there's been no prima facie evidence that the first appellant procured the documents that were used in the bid,
Yes.
and that he was involved in the preparation,
Yes.
or that he was involved in the compilation,
Yes.
and that he was not involved in the submission of the document.
Yes, my lord.
So therefore, no, he has not been personally linked to the
Yes.
crime.
Yes, my
I
lord.
think that's the gist of the application.
Indeed,
Does
my
that need any further explanation?
No, my lord, it was emphasis, my lord. Not that I was.
Sometimes you might actually convolute, something that you put so well in your opening submission.
I appreciate, my lord. I'm indebted.
Because now this
because
reference
of
to the charge, to so on, it is likely to confuse. You are simply saying the state dealt with the company and
Indeed.
not the accused person in person.
My lord, I'm very much indebted to the exchange because I do take note that his lordship has really grasped the submissions that we made in writing.
Yes, okay.
So with that, my lord, I would not wish to then emphasize on the points that
but that's
the court
the
already.
gravamen of the submission, isn't it?
Indeed, my lord. I would then just want to deal with one issue that the state related to, which submission was to the effect that it is common cause that at the time that the bid was participated in, the law provides that the company that participates with a trading name must have registered that trade name. When the state relates to the provisions of the Companies Act, my lord, I would just want to make the submission that the section is clear that the company that assumed after its inception are the ones that would be required to register their trade name.
Wait a second. What section is it?
Section 29, my lord.
Yes. You can read it.
Yes, my lord, thank you. Yes, it says lawful use of assumed names by registered business entities. Subject to this section, a registered business entity may assume a name other than its registered name for use in conducting business in Zimbabwe. Before using an assumed name in terms of subsection 1, a registered business entity shall file with the registrar a notice that it will be conducting business under the name, which notice shall state the entity's true name as stated in its constitutive documents and the assumed name under which it will be conducting business. And C, that the entity intends to conduct business in Zimbabwe under that assumed name. And the registrar shall keep the notice on public file together with the entity's constitutive documents. Subsection 3 says, Section 25, a prohibition of undesirable name shall not apply with any necessary changes. Shall apply with any necessary changes in relation to the use by registered business entity assumed name in terms of this section. So in my respectful submission, my lord, when one reads that section 29, it is clear that a registered entity may assume a name other than its registered name. And where it does that, it must advise the registrar before using the assumed name in terms of subsection 1. So this applies. We all know that no statute applies in retrospect. It has been admitted in evidence by the state that this act came well after Black Deck Private Limited was in operation. And my respectful submission is that no evidence has been put by the state to discredit the submission that that company, Black Deck Private Limited, was already trading. He had already assumed prior to the enactment the name Black Deck Poultry, Livestock and Farming Act. So that being the case, these provisions do not apply. But the submission that we wish to also make and further to that is, even if it is assumed that the provisions apply, which we deny, it would not mean that if a company goes against this provision, then it has committed fraud. That is the conclusion that the state makes. If a company breaches the provisions of the Act itself, there are penalty provisions that provide for what must happen for breaching any provision. So,
what are they?
I had not captured the exact section that deals with that, but what it does, my lord, is that it simply has its own provisions, penalty provisions. That is the point. That
Section 29 has got its own provisions.
Yes, the Act, the breach of the Companies Act has its own penalty provisions, and the state, the charge that the accused person is facing is not that they breached the section.
Are you speaking from a position of knowledge, or you are assuming? Because if you are speaking from a position of knowledge, it would be very useful if you draw our attention to the relevant provision which creates an offense for not obeying Section 29.
Yes, my lord, but I did not really pinpoint on the provisions of what the penalties.
So you can make that submission, isn't it?
My lord, I will make the submission that the state is not charging the accused person for breaching this section. It is charging the accused person for an offense of fraud. And those two are different, separate.
Oh, that's the submission we make.
Yes. And the submission that even if this provision was breached, it does not amount to fraud. And that the provision does not apply in retrospect. I think that is the submission that I will make in respect of that provision. And it is also clear from the evidence of the witnesses that the entity that participated in the tender is known, and that when the ministry was dealing or was referring to that company that is Black Deck Poultry and Livestock Farming, they were referring in actual fact to Black Deck Limited as a company, as a known entity. Mm-hmm. Yes, my lord. My brother would want to just respond also to emphasize on some points in our submissions, Mr. Koto.
Although I don't believe we should be doing that, I've already made my position clear. You must have lead counsel.
Indeed, my lord.
But anyway, I will allow Mr. Koto to add his voice.
Yes, my lord.
But I think you must also always bear in mind that I expect you to discuss before we start, and then you put your ideas together, and then they get motivated by lead counsel. But anyway, Mr. Koto, you can
Thank you,
make your contribution.
Thank you, my lord. In this case, my lord, I would...
My lady.
My lord.
I'm not beautiful.
I would submit, my lord, my learned assessor, that there is no state case to talk of, in the sense that the state set out to prove one thing, but it ended up giving evidence on a different thing altogether.
Yes.
What the state wanted to prove was that Moses Mpofu participated in the bid himself by way of using a non-existent company. And through that way, the ministry was misled into giving him money through that non-existent company. That was the case against the accused. But now it called witnesses to come and testify that Blackdeck submitted a document, Blackdeck Private Limited submitted a document which had some forged tax clearance certificate and NASA certificate.
Just before you proceed, what is the allegation? That it misrepresented, intending the state to act upon such misrepresentation?
It's Moses Mpofu presented a bid to supply goods to the ministry.
Yes.
As Moses Mpofu.
And for what? Yes.
Yes.
And,
now,
and for what purpose?
to supply goods to the ministry. He did not have a company, but instead he came up with a non-existent company called Blackdeck Livestock and Poultry.
Yes.
That company, Blackdeck Livestock and Poultry, which is non-existent, now he attached to that bid documents in the name of Blackdeck Private Limited. Yes. That is the certificate, NASA certificate, and Zimra Tech certificate. Yes. So, in other words, most Mpofu took documents that were in the name of Blackdeck Private Limited and he used them in his bid that he submitted to the ministry in the name of a non-existent company. Yes. That is the case.
Yes.
Now, the evidence that has been heard here in this court, my lord.
Now, I was asking you, what allegedly, what did he want to achieve by doing that?
He wanted to obtain money from the ministry.
No, that's not what the charge says. The charge says he wanted state officials to act on that representation, which they say was misrepresentation. In other words, he said that the state is saying your client submitted a bid in the name of a non-existent company, and you then used documents which they say are false, are fake, in order to convince the ministry to deal with him.
Yes.
Isn't it? Is that not what the fraud is?
That is there.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Not to obtain money, but to convince the ministry to deal with him. Whatever other benefits, very well, they will be prejudiced. But as Mr. Dretero says, I don't want you to contradict him, by the way.
Yes.
He's saying that is where the offense is, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Now we are saying the state called witnesses who said they dealt with the company. That's what you said, isn't it?
Yes.
Who are, and I'm saying that is the defense.
Yes, that is the defense.
That is the state witness have contradicted the state case.
Exactly. In fact,
how?
Now, you would recall from the
Because
defense
it is already the state case that the ministry officials were then deceived.
Yes.
That they were deceived to deal with a non-existent company. That is the way the fraud is.
Yes.
So whatever the witnesses are coming to say, they're in a state of being deceived.
Yes.
So are you relying on what they believed to exonerate your client? Or you should be relying on what your client did or did not do? You get the fine thing there? The state is saying the state was deceived.
Yes.
Isn't it? To believe that this company is registered.
Yes.
And the witnesses are coming and say, yes, we were deceived. So where's the contradiction?
My Lord, I think on the issue of the witness admitting that they were deceived, that's where we seem to differ, my Lord.
But you have already said so.
No.
That the witnesses came to say, we dealt with the company, we dealt with Black Deck Private Limited, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, and that is exactly what they should be saying, because the state is saying they were deceived.
My Lord, there was no issue of deceit, my Lord. There was no issue of being misled, because the witness said, although there were these various names, livestock and poultry, Colenso Farm, but we were clear that we were dealing with a company called Black Deck Private Limited.
Yes.
Yes. So now we have got...
Listen.
Yes.
I think you are saying it's common cause that these witnesses said we were clear we were dealing with the same entity. Isn't it? Yes. That's what they said. That's what you're saying, isn't it? Now the state says they were saying so because they had been deceived. The state doesn't dispute that, but they say they were deceived. But you are saying they were not deceived. The reason why I'm doing this is so that we don't spend too much time on this. Your application for discharge is very simple. The state did not deal with Mr. Mpofu.
Yes.
It dealt with a company.
With a company.
So Mr. Mpofu cannot then try and justify, things.
Exactly.
You are really gravitating towards what you are not supposed to be doing.
Well,
but if you want to persist, you can.
No, I'm about to.
He is telling me, Mr. Chito told me, don't bother our client. The state is bothering our client.
Yes.
The state dealt with the company.
Exactly.
Why is the state in layman's language? It's as simple as that.
Yes.
Now, where are you coming from now, Mr.? Now you want to you are saying you are now being the spokesperson of that company.
No. I'm responding, as you said, I'm responding to the status response. You would note from the status response at page 4 that they say the tribal issues are that whether the accused person knew that Exhibit 1 and 2 were forgeries, or that there was a real risk or possibility that the documents were not authentic.
Yeah, but that is answered by you.
Yes.
You said you didn't prepare the documents.
Yes.
Yes. So let the state argue their case.
Yes. Okay.
Present your side of the story. You will have a right of reply. But I'm simply saying you can proceed, but we may be spending too much time on what is not part of your case.
Well, maybe I will use whatever I want to say after the state has responded to the application. Then if they
anyway, proceed in case it's not law, because you won't be able to respond on factual issues.
Yes.
But I'm just trying to guide you.
Yes.
Remember, you are not really... I can't prevent you from saying what you want to say. But... well, I'm sure you've heard what I'm failing to say.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that whatever was submitted in the bid, whether authentic or not, it belonged to a different entity called Black Deck Private Limited. The use of...
A different person.
Yes, a different person. The use of a trade name, if it was wrong, it means it is Black Deck Private Limited that wrongly used a name. Most Mpofu does not have a trading name. So that's why I'm saying, my Lord, maybe I will refer you to the case of Terry Mtasa versus Francis Mpofu, your judgment in that matter, my Lord. And also the case of Isaura Masinga, I think it is on all fours with this case, whereby the state sets out to prove one thing, but then leaves evidence to prove a different thing altogether. In that case, it means the state is now pushing the accused person to go to the defense case to prove another case which was never part of the charge.
Yeah, I remember the Isaura Masinga case.
Yes.
The facts are clear in my mind.
Yes.
But can you tell me what the state then proved in this case?
In this case, my lord, the state case appears to be that the papers.
Why are you shifting from proved to appearing?
Well, because I doubt that.
I just want you to explain what you say the state ended up with. Because the case of the Isaura Masinga case was very clear.
Yes.
The state was saying, look, we said this in the charge sheet.
Yes.
Then we laid evidence. It revealed a different conduct.
Yes.
But all the same, the different conduct still constitutes smuggling.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
And then we said, no. You cannot do that. But we were very clear about what the state set out to prove and what it proved, so that we could make a distinction. That's why we said you cannot proceed on the basis of new facts,
yes,
new allegations.
Exactly.
So I want you to tell me, you have told me what the allegations are very succinctly. You put them very well. Maybe I hope I'm right. But now that's your understanding of the charge. What is your understanding of what the state has proved, which you say it is different from what it had set out to prove?
I would not want to use the word proved, my lord, because the state cannot prove a case against the Black Private Limited, which is not.
So you might as well abandon the submission if you don't want to illustrate it.
Well,
because you said your opening statement,
yes,
was that the state set out to prove one thing and proved the other. Now, in order for me to make sense out of that submission, I must understand what the state proved, which does not constitute, which is different from what was alleged.
The state laid evidence that a company called Black Private Limited was awarded the tender, although it was making use of a trading name, but the ministry officials understood it to be the one that was actually bidding. So that is the evidence that was laid by the state. Not that Mpofu participated in the bidding. There is not even a single witness who alleged participation by Mpofu. There is no single witness who alleged any representation, oral or written, by Mpofu in pursuit and in support of his own bid. Okay. In short, there was never a bid by Mpofu.
Oh, so you're saying the state did not prove his participation as a person, personally?
As a person, yes. Now, what it wants to do now is to allege that Black Private Limited committed an offense, but now he must also be made liable because he is part of Black Private Limited. So where I'm coming from now, my lord, is that the charge as currently formulated is based on personal conduct. But where the state is now trying to go is now trying to allege vicarious liability, which is not the basis of the charge as it is.
Okay. Very well. I was going to ask you anyway. We'll come to vicarious liability. You raised the issue of the corporate veil and so on in Kamban law. You submitted that in your submissions.
Yeah.
Did you cited cases like that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it was referred to my lord, but I don't think that is relevant, because insofar as the state does not allege that the company was non-existent, there can be no corporate veil to talk of.
Well, you made the submission. I want to understand what you were referring to. That's the whole idea of this.
The issue was...
What were you referring to when you made reference to piercing the corporate veil?
Right. The issue was, yet the state tried to charge Black Deck Private Limited, for whatever transgressions it might have committed, then try to visit that same conduct upon the one of the directors or officers, then that would have made sense. Instead of alleging that he is the one who set out committing those offenses, who participated in the bidding process. So, as long as the state does not acknowledge the existence of a company, then there can be no issue of corporate veil to talk of.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're saying the accused person can only be charged personally after piercing the corporate veil?
Once there is an allegation that a company committed an offense, which is not the case right now, because there is no allegation that any company committed an offense. If there was such an allegation, then by operation of section 277 of the Criminal Code, that liability would also be visited upon directors and officers of the company. But that is not the state case.
Oh, you are saying section 277 starts from the premise that a company is guilty of an offense.
Yes.
And if a company is not guilty of an offense, no person can be charged.
I'm
struggling to understand.
No.
What are you saying?
There must be an offense by a company. Once it is found that the company has committed an offense, then any director, any officer, or agent of that company.
Did the state say that they are charging any director or any what?
Agents of the company. Now, you had asked me, my lord, what is meant by the issue of corporate veil.
Yeah, because you made the submission and I failed to grasp what the...
Yes, I agree with you on that.
So you are not emphasizing on that.
Yes, we are not emphasizing the issue of corporate veil because the state stance is that there is no registered company to talk of. The state is dealing with Mpofu in his personal capacity as the person who set in motion the allegation.
And you are saying, no, Mpofu as a person, there are no allegations that can be leveled against him because the government dealt with a registered company.
Yes, the government registered with a registered company. And if there are any irregularities in the documents, they are irregularities
to be explained by the
company and not by Mpofu because he has no legal.
You make that point very well,
yes.
But you tend now in trying to
I think I'm done once.
Treat yourself.
Well, I think so. As I said, I refer you to that case of Masinga as well.
It's whether you were saying, well, whatever went wrong,
it's Black Deck.
Don't touch Mr. Mpofu.
Yes,
that's all.
Yes, that's it.
State.
Yes, my lord.
Remember, they are saying, don't touch Mr. Mpofu.
Yes.
Deal with Black Deck Private Limited, so focus on that.
My lord, Honorable Assessors, I think the conclusion started with a red tie instead of a chapeau by the lead counsel.
Oh dear, I had not seen that.
My sincere apologies.
Very well, we will forgive him. I think he must have been preparing very hard for this case.
I was before another.
Okay. No, it doesn't matter. You can do that during the break.
My lord, I think my learned colleagues missed the point with the charge sheet. That what was clear was that the charge is very clear that the misrepresentation was that they presented a company which is Black Deck Livestock and Poultry Farming. That is the company that was presented on the bidding document. That is the company which is appearing on the agreement between the government of Zimbabwe and the Black Deck Livestock and Poultry Farming. On the agreement, even the addendum, there's no mention of Black Deck Private Limited. If that is their defense, that there was Black Deck Private Limited. That is the defense that they should ventilate in their defense case. But that is not the state case. In terms of the state case, there is no confusion at all. The confusion is that they have their own case in their mind that they want to ventilate, but which is not part of the state case, which they cannot superimpose on the state case. So from the beginning, there was no agreement because the government of Zimbabwe was misrepresented into entering into an agreement by a non-existent company. And on that agreement, there is no mention of a Black Deck Private Limited, where someone can say there is an issue of one name being used as a trade name or not. And it was accused, the first accused person who entered into that agreement, he is the one who personally signed as the principal for Black Deck livestock and poultry farming. That is the misrepresentation that he did in person, and he was not doing that on behalf of Black Deck Private Limited. So it was not an omission by the state that it did not charge Black Deck Private Limited, because if it were to be charged, it was going to disown accused number one. Clearly, there are three names which were involved in the bidding process, and all the three names, namely Black Deck Private Limited or Black Deck Private Limited trading as Black Deck livestock and poultry, or Black Deck Private Limited trading as Colenso farming, they are all accused outright, without doubt. He was involved in whatever was happening before even the bid commenced. The inescapable predicament in which the first accused finds himself in is when he put to paper, when he took the government of Zimbabwe when it fooled it in that it made it to believe that it was entering into a valid agreement, but the agreement was void ab initio in that the Black Deck livestock and poultry was not a legal person. So therefore, that was a lie that he perpetrated. And in perpetrating that lie, he also put documents from Zimbra and NASA, which were forgeries, and he was quite aware of it. These documents, my Lord General Basesa, very clear that you could get those documents from the comfort of your home, because they were from a self-service portal. You did not need an expert to go and download those documents and print them. Once you are compliant, you just get them. The mere fact that he tries to say he then engaged an expert whose name he shall not reveal now, he will reveal during his defense case, is the first. It does not do justice to his case. So this is what he has to explain in his defense case. To come up with the defense that he has since withheld in terms of section 66 of the Criminal Procedure and Evidence Act. He has just said he engaged an expert. He will reveal that person later, and he will reveal his name later. So he has to go to his defense and then call that person, give evidence if he wants to confess that he's the one who forged. But the truth of the matter, in respect of NASA, the accused person knew it was a company that he was not using for bidding, which was a private limited, had last registered with NASA in 2016, 5 years prior to the bidding. And there is no way the accused person who was a operations manager or operations director, that he could have entertained the idea that the company was compliant with NASA requirements, because it had last registered in 5 years prior to the bidding. And there is no way he could have entertained the idea that any of the three companies were compliant with ZIMRA. It was very clear and very loud during the state case that the pertinent questions that were supposed to be answered to officers from ZIMRA and NASA were that the company could not have forged the papers because they could get those papers above board, because they were compliant with the requirements of the two organizations. That was never posed to the two officers. But that was what was very important. Did he believe that his two companies could secure those documents which were peremptory to the submission of the tender above board? That was never his argument. The only inference is that he knew that his company could not get, any of his three companies in whatever variation could not have secured the two documents above board. That's why they are bringing in an unnamed expert who could not be mentioned in terms of Section 66. So really, there is no. I'm glad Mr. Koto, though he came late, he had the decency to admit that the issue of piercing of the corporate veil does not arise in this particular instance, because there was no company which was involved, which was registered in terms of the laws of this country. So what piercing of the corporate veil, that's why even black livestock and poetry could not be charged, because it is not a legal persona. It's just a figment of his own perception. The company does not exist at all. So this whole argument being presented by my learned colleagues that the first accused person does not feature in these circumstances is misplaced, because there is no legal persona which was involved. So if that is the argument that they are going to present in their argument, in their defense, well and fine. That's the reason why they should be put on why he should be put on his defense and explain. That was the most honorable thing that he should have done. The second accused person was very clear. His co-accused person was very clear that he wants to go and explain his case. I think, without doubt, the first accused person should have done the same thing, because he has more to explain than anyone else.
Yes.
The state has been consistent in terms of the three factors where it said the first accused person misrepresented in securing the tender. And it is proved in respect of the NASA document, the ZIMRA document, and the use of non-registered company. The Companies and Business Entities Act, it started operating from the 13th of February 2020. And this offense occurred after. My little colleague, I think he wanted to hazard, he wanted to take his chance by saying there is no provision which says trade names which were in existence before the inception of this act were not affected. That is wrong. That is not the reading of Section 29. Section 29 is very clear that if you want to use a trade name, it is supposed to comply with the provisions of that section. It did not give any exception to those trade names which were in existence. In any case, those names did not have any legal basis for their existence, and therefore there was no need at all for those names to be maintained, because they did not enjoy any legal status. Anyone could have used those names because they were not registered names.
No, yeah, very well. I have heard I'm not really like stopping you.
Yes.
But at this stage, I told Mr. Dutta that I'm dealing with evidence, not the legal implications of COP, the companies and other entities' business, other businesses. I don't think we should be delving into that. I drew that to his attention, and I don't think it's really important. Section 198.3 speaks about evidence, which means facts.
Yes.
The facts, as far as I'm concerned now, and it appears to me, it's common cause that name was not registered.
Yes.
That is the fact.
It's a fact indeed.
The law is something else.
Yes.
I'm dealing with facts now. The law regarding what we are doing, both parties relied on the Kachipare case.
Yes.
That is the law.
Yes.
The COB is not what we are dealing with.
Yes.
We are dealing with facts. So it was not registered, that is the fact. Whatever implications you can deal with at a later stage.
Thank you, my Lord.
Yes.
Yes. So really, my learned colleagues, really, I think the state has sufficiently responded to areas that they found that my learned colleagues were missing the point. But otherwise, by and large, it abides by the detailed submissions that it files of record.
Thank you.
I have no further submissions to make.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much, my Lord. The state is related, by and large, to the contract that was signed is the involvement of the first accused person. This is the point where the state has, even on evidence, led and relied on. And the state has not controverted the submission that we made, which is to the effect that it alleges that the crime was committed in a bid document. And the evidence that the state has laid so far is that the bid document was submitted by a company called Black Deck Private Limited. The state's evidence all pointed out to Annexure C or 3 of the bid document.
Maybe before you proceed, Mr. Titoro.
Yes, my Lord.
You seem to be really just emphasizing that the bid was submitted by a company.
Yes.
And not the accused.
Yes.
The state says it was submitted by him, and he has several alter egos.
Yes.
He's at one stage Black Deck Private Limited, and he's also Black Deck Livestock.
Yes.
He's also Consela Farm. That is the state allegation, which
Yes.
they say they prove. And like he's saying, according to your application, all those names relate to the same company which submitted the bid.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the accused person saying that.
Yes, ma'am.
And has he said that?
Yes, ma'am. Pardon me, my Lord.
Has he given that evidence?
No, he has not given that evidence, my Lord.
So when will you give the evidence?
Well, to answer you, my Lord, that question is that for even him to give that evidence, the state's own evidence that it has led so far must have been to the effect that it is the accused person who submitted the bid. It is the accused person who was using we
will come to that. You have said this is asserted in
Yes.
the application for discharge.
Yes.
It is also confirmed by Mr. Koto. And it is actually part of the defense outline. The accused said the company resolved to submit a bid in response to this tender.
He knows that,
Isn't
yes.
it?
Yes.
And that then the state dealt with the company. So
Yeah.
that is his defense,
Yes, my lord.
isn't it? It's a defense outline. It's an indication of what he will say in his defense.
Yes, my lord.
Now, at the close of the state case, the state is saying we have proved that Black Deck livestock and poultry farming is not
Collect-
registered.
Yes.
But the accused saying no, you are mistaken. It is registered. It is the trade name of a registered company, and I want to be acquitted on the basis that the state dealt with. That's one aspect to it, to his defense. And I'm saying, when will he give that evidence? When will he tell the court that Black Deck livestock and poultry farming is in fact a business a trade name of Black Deck Private? When will he say that?
You will say that if he's put to his defense, my lord. If he's
Yes.
put to his defense.
So can I then rely on it to acquit him at this stage before he says that?
The submission that I make, my lord, is that for him to then to be put to his defense and for him to explain that the state at this stage must have put prima facie evidence of what it is
Is
alleged.
there no prima facie evidence that Black Deck livestock and poultry is not registered? Is that contested?
What I'm saying, my lord, is the state's case itself from its witnesses is that Black Deck Private Limited is a registered entity. That is the evidence that the state has put to this court through its witnesses, that the bid was submitted by a registered company. That is what the state has so far proven. So the accused person does not need to be put to his defense to prove that which the state
Did you
has.
listen very carefully to what Mr. Chimombe said? And I actually tried to deal with this aspect when I was talking to Mr. Koto. When you are talking about a fraud, you are trying to say that the victim of the fraud was misled.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So the state is saying what the witnesses are saying does not matter. These are deceived people who believe that they were working with a registered company. So they're saying we proved that they were deceived. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So what the witnesses are saying is on the face of it actually tends to confirm that they were victims of a misrepresentation and genuinely believed that they were dealing with the company. The state is saying no, but that conduct is in fact the essence of the crime. These are people who were deceived to believe that they were dealing with a company.
Yes.
But the state says they were not dealing with a company.
Yes.
They are still in that state of deception.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, my lord.
So don't rely on what those witnesses are saying, because those are people who were deceived, who still believe that what they did is correct.
Yes, my lord.
You understand?
Yes, my lord. I'm with you.
So you are saying, the gravamen is that there's nothing that attached personally to our client because the state dealt with Black Deck Private Limited. Okay.
Yes.
But I'm saying that is his defense.
Yes.
And he says, I know it because Black Deck Private Limited, I was part of it, decided to bid for this. And I'm saying, you want me to take that into account at the close of this case? And I'm saying, he hasn't said so.
Yes, my lord.
When is he going to say that?
Yes, my lord. Let me deal with the first aspect, my lord, which
Yes.
I am with you, my lord.
Yes.
That what the state is saying
Yes.
is that at this juncture, all the evidence from the witness is the evidence of witnesses who have been deceived.
Yes.
who are believing that they were dealing with an existent company, yet that company is not existent.
Yes.
That is what the state is saying.
Yes.
And the state is saying disregard that.
No, it's not. It's not saying disregard that. It is saying we've actually proved that
Yes.
these people were deceived.
Yes, it is saying disregard the fact that they are saying that they were dealing with a registered company. In other words, the state is saying the evidence of the witness confirms its allegation that these witnesses thought that they were dealing with a registered company when they were not.
Yes.
So, if the state does that as at this stage, and it does not lead evidence from anyone who proves on a prima facie level that these people were deceived and that it was actually the first accused person who they were dealing with, then the state case collapses.
No, I don't understand that again. Take that again.
Maybe let me take it again, my lord. I am saying it is a legal position that when the state closes the case, it must have led evidence from witnesses whose material evidence the court can rely on.
Yes.
None of those witnesses' evidence was to the effect that we were thinking that we are dealing with a registered company. But no, we were dealing with Moses Mpofu. No one has said that. No evidence has been put on a prima facie basis to that effect. So on that basis alone, the state's case must collapse. So
Did you listen to the evidence of who is this? Is this Chimini? Was it Chimini? What is the name?
my lord, you are relating to the evidence of Mindurwa.
Oh, Mindurwa.
Yes, my lord.
Mindurwa. Who was saying each time I said I want black deck, who would appear?
Yes, my lord. Mindurwa related.
Do you remember his evidence?
Yes, my
That
lord.
effect. He said each time I wanted to discuss something, I would say, please bring black deck, and who would appear?
Yes, my lord. The evidence of Mindurwa, my lord, related to this is why in my opening statements I said we need to demarcate and really find out where was the fraud allegedly committed, and I zeroed in on the bidding documents, and the witness that related to meetings that were then held after the bid.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I think I understand you. You are saying there ought to be evidence of the accused person, of eyewitnesses who saw the accused person compiling the bid
Yes.
and walking to or driving or flying to the ministry to submit the bid,
Yes.
and personally handing it in,
Yes.
and that would prove that he
Actors.
submitted the bid.
Yes. I'm saying the
Is
act
that
of.
what- is that the
Yes,
case?
yes, my lord. And I can.
Without that, then there's no evidence of personal involvement.
Yes, my lord. I'm saying the offense of misrepresentation has to have actors. The actors in misrepresentation is making a representation which is false. So that act must necessarily be proved at a prima facie level.
The act of preparing the bid.
No, the act of making a representation.
Yeah, but
and in this case, it is indeed, my lord, because in this case, the state is alleging that the representation is in written form.
Yes.
That is what the state is saying.
Yes, so-
And it's saying that written form exists in Exhibit 14.
Yes.
This is why even the state was saying Exhibit 14 is a critical document.
Yeah.
It really emphasized that, and I think we all agreed that we are all gathered here because of Exhibit 14.
Yeah.
It is the critical document because this is the document where the representation, which is false, exists in a written form.
Yes.
So there has, at this stage, to have been, on a prima facie basis, evidence that links the accused person to having made the representation in Exhibit 14. None. has been done by the state. There's been
none personal linking him with what? With that bid.
yes, none is saying the accused person brought this bid to say this is my.
Is that possible? Is that throughout your imagination? Is that possible? With respect to bids, is it possible to lead that evidence?
Yes, my lord. One witness is
It's not possible.
maybe
That bid is submitted in a certain way, and the person who is submitting the bid does not have to. I don't know whether you are saying there has to be evidence of eyewitnesses who saw the accused preparing the bid, combining the papers, submitting it in person. I understood the state to be saying the accused person is the first person,
yes,
first accused.
First accused, yes.
Then appeared to sign the contract following the award of the bid. And he is therefore the person who must explain the issues arising from the bid.
From the contract.
No, from the bid, which culminated in the contract. It's circumstantial. Then, of course, there's other eyewitnesses who then say they dealt with him and so on. It's still circumstantial.
Indeed.
Isn't it?
Indeed,
They are eyewitnesses to, if they are believed, to his various attendances. They are eyewitnesses. But then the state is saying from that, we are drawing the inference that he is the person behind the bid.
Yes, my lord. Maybe let me start to deal with the first issue, my lord, where you had inquired whether or not it is possible. I want to relate to the evidence of one Isa, Precious Isa. She indicated that there is a person that came with the tender, that she saw, that she received the tender from, who is called Ajne, who is a director of Black Deck Private Limited. So it would have been a different scenario if this bid had come with the first accused person and had said to Isa, here's the bidding document. And then Isa says, I received this document from the first accused person. So this is why we are saying that document, that offending document, belongs to the first accused person. That in that scenario, it would have been different, my lord, in my respect.
Say that again. You're saying?
I am saying, my lord, there is a director of Black Deck Private Limited that went with the bidding document to Isa, that submitted and signed that I have submitted this document. So,
He is the director of Black Deck Private Limited?
yes.
No, I think you misunderstand. You are convoluting issues. The state case is that bid was not submitted by Black Deck Private Limited.
Yes.
It is that it was submitted by Black Deck
By Moses.
Poultry and Livestock Farming. And they are saying that entity is not registered as a company. And your client is saying, no, the state is wrong. The bid, you are saying, you are still saying that. The bid was submitted by Black Deck Private Limited and its director is Isa. That's what your client is saying, and that's what you are saying. But I'm saying at this stage, it is not the state which is saying that. It is your client who is saying that is his defense. Isn't it? So, but has he placed those facts before the court for the court to say, to make that finding in his favor?
I hear you, my lord.
Yes,
but
because I can only acquit him at this stage because I have accepted that fact as submitted by him and tested under cross-examination. On what basis do I make that finding? That in fact, the state dealt with Black Deck Private Limited. On what basis do I say that?
My lord, the submission that I'm making is, I'm with you, my lord, but
Yes.
what I'm saying is, where the accused person then gets to his defense and then proves these things is a second stage, in my respect for you. The first stage is where the state must prove on a prima facie its own allegation.
Assuming,
The state must, at this stage, on a prima facie level, have laid evidence to the extent that it is the accused person that bidded. It is the accused person that misused or abused Black Deck Private Limited. It is the first accused
So, and
person.
you are saying the fact that he signed on behalf of Black Deck Livestock does not give rise to the inference that he was behind that bid?
On the basis that the contract is post the misrepresentation.
Yes,
Yes, my
I'm
lord.
sure you understand what I mean by inference.
Ye-
This is a case which the state intends to prove on circumstantial evidence.
Yes, my lord.
Yes.
Yes,
And
my
you are saying that the fact that he signed, assuming the court accepts that Black Deck Livestock and Poultry is not registered,
Yes, my lord.
okay, and assuming it's accepted.
Yes, my lord.
In fact, it is accepted, is it not? Is it not accepted that it's not registered?
Well, my lord, there's no one who has ever said that it is registered.
And in terms of COB, in terms of COB, is it registered in terms of the Companies and Other Business Entities Act?
No, the company that is registered and that is known is Black Deck Private Limited.
Yes. But
no one is
the
alleged
entity which
that
signed the contract is not registered, isn't it?
Well, my lord, this is where I was saying we need to demarcate where was the misrepresentation made.
That doesn't matter.
If the charge sheet was saying, my lord, if the charge sheet was saying the accused person misrepresented in the contract that he was representing a non-existent person, that would be a different charge.
Oh,
because the charge of fraud would then be based on the allegation that in the contract itself, this is where the first accused person misrepresented.
You are separating the company which submitted the bid and the company which entered into a contract with the state.
I'm necessarily looking at the charge sheet, my lord, to say the charge sheet does not allege.
I don't think we will spend too much time on that because I know you understand what I'm saying. When I talk about circumstantial evidence, I'm simply saying there's no direct evidence against him. Nobody, we have not been shown a CCTV of Mr. Mpofu walking there and submitting the bid or preparing documents. That is common cause.
Yes,
we don't have eyewitnesses evidence. The state is simply saying, by the mere fact that he signed on behalf of that entity, which we say is unregistered, we want him to explain.
I hear you, my lord, that the state's case is based on circumstantial evidence. And that circumstantial evidence, my lord, is the evidence that I'm saying on a prima facie basis must have been put relating to the bid.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Once the state starts relying on post the offense, because the offense was committed in the bid itself.
Okay.
Unless if the state was alleging that the offense was committed in the contract or at a later stage, that would be a totally different charge, my lord. And in that case, I would have said the first accused person must at least explain why did he sign the contract. This is not why we are here. The state is saying in the bidding document itself, this is where the accused person misrepresented. And I'm saying none of the evidence links accused person to the bid itself.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
That is the submission. The other submission that I wanted to say was, it is irrelevant whether or not the contract is therefore void or not. It is irrelevant. The state has made submission that the contract itself is void ab initio and everything, but that is irrelevant on the basis of that. Then the state also misreads the defense outline, my lord. He puts words into the first accused person's mouth. He says the first accused person says he engaged an expert. This is not what the first accused person is saying. The first accused person is saying he knows Black Deck Private Limited to have engaged an expert, not that he himself. The state must really be in a position to separate the corporate from the accused person, because the accused person is saying, I did not participate in the bid. I did not do anything in the bid. full stop. It was done by Black Deck Private Limited. But then he goes an extra mile, not that he is required or is obliged to do that, to give extra information, to say, I know that a company called Black Deck Private Limited, which is a separate person, engaged, did this, did that. So the state is misreading to say he is saying he engaged an expert. So that is a misreading of the defense outline. The state also says it is his company. There is no prima facie evidence, my lord, that has been put to at this stage to say that that company is first accused person's company.
Which company?
Black Deck Private Limited, or whichever company that the state is referring to.
There's no...
Okay, let me retake the point, my lord. I'm saying when the state was giving its submissions, it said this is his company. It is his company that did that. But I'm saying that submission is not based on any fact.
Now at this stage, I think we should really be specific. The state said...
It says it is the first accused person's company that hired experts. It is the... Yes. So I'm saying for the state to make that submission, it is assuming that it knows the shareholding or it has proven the shareholding on a prima facie at this stage. None of that has been put before this honorable court. That is the submission that I made.
In other words, is dissociating himself with...
No. I'm not saying... the state is making the allegation that he is the alter ego of the company.
No, he said he is the alter ego of the three entities.
Yes.
That is Black Deck Livestock.
Yes.
In short.
Yes.
Black Deck Private Limited.
Yes.
Concelo Farm.
Yes.
He says all those names are his.
In effect, I think maybe that's what he meant.
I heard him to be saying that they are his alter egos. Loosely, I think that is what is meant by alter ego, isn't it? Also known as.
Yes, my lord.
Yes.
Maybe that's what he meant, but I thought he was then referring to Black Deck Private Limited as an existent entity.
But the thrust of your submission being that he's dissociating himself, would that be wrong anyway? If he said that Black Deck Private Limited is his company?
No, he's part shareholder. There are other shareholders.
So it would be his company, isn't it? It's co-owned. Every co-owner is an owner.
He may be a minority shareholder, my lord. But then for you to then say alter ego, you are saying he's 90% owner or 99% owner.
Oh, you're complaining against the use of alter ego.
Yes, my lord.
Okay, that's
yes,
fine.
my lord.
That's fine.
Right. Then I was going to make submissions, but I've heard you, my lord, in respect of the Companies Act. I'm not going to respond to that.
Yeah, well, that's not evidence.
Yes. And just lastly, my lord, the state's evidence is all, when it related to the material time period, it indicated that it ended with the award of tender, and that award was awarded to someone else who is not in the dock, to Black Deck Private Limited. That was the effect of the state's evidence in closing. So with that, if that person is not appearing in the dock, there cannot be a link between that which was awarded the tender and the first accused person. And then in our respectful submission, the first accused person cannot be put to his defense. Those will be my submissions.
Does the concept of corporate veil apply?
It does not apply in criminal proceedings, save to indicate the distinction that the law appreciates between a corporate persona and its shareholders or its directors. There is a distinction. So it does not apply in criminal cases. In civil cases, it is very clear. We've referred to several cases.
It's very, very clear.
Yes.
That you don't proceed against shareholders
Yes.
or directors unless you have lifted the corporate law.
Yes. So.
But does that principle apply in criminal law?
No, it doesn't apply, my lord. But its non-applicability actually works in favor of then showing that in criminal proceedings, there is even a more onerous responsibility on the state for them to hold someone liable for the acts of another person. Yes. They must really prove that that person personally did what they are alleging they did. And in this case, even on a prima facie evidence, there's no witness, there is no exhibit that links the first accused person to the alleged misrepresentation.
Thank you.
Those will be, if you could just bear with me.
You can see Mr. Koto is ready.
Yeah, he's bending to maybe to state another. Maybe his voice would really assist in the explanation.
Yes, brief, my lord. I just want to refer you to section 11, 13, and 14 of the criminal law codification. And
section 11.
Yes, section 11.
Yes.
13 and 14. Right. In these sections, my lord, it is clear that I will read section 11. A person shall not be held criminally liable for a consequence unless the person's conduct caused or substantially contributed to its occurrence. A person's conduct shall be deemed to have caused or substantially contributed to a consequence for the purpose of subsection 1 if the conduct is the factual cause of the consequence. Now, the conduct that is complained of in the bid, my lord, is that there is a forged certificate. There are forged certificates. Now, there is no evidence on behalf of the state that accused number 1 played a role to bring about the forging. Although you would not from...
Is he facing a charge of forgery?
Yes, he's facing a charge of forgery. No. But well, in the charge sheet, my lord, there are allegations that he then forged.
No.
My lord.
No.
My lord, let me read. Should I just bear with me?
I think quite clearly, Mr. Koto, forgery is one charge which has got its own description.
Yes,
and fraud is a different offense.
Exactly.
Nobody talked about your client forging documents. No, never. The charge is that somebody submitted a bid then convinced government to deal with a non-registered entity, thinking that it is dealing with a registered entity, and used fake documents to support that bid so that it appeared valid on the face of it, when in fact the documents used to support the bid were fake. There's no allegation of your client forging them.
Well, in the summary, my lord, paragraph 3.
Yes, what is it?
Pursuant to their plan to defraud government of Zimbabwe of its money, the accused persons working in connivance and well knowing that the company Black Duck Livestock and Poultry Farming is not registered and does not have a valid tax clearance certificate and NASA certificate, required for a company to be eligible to bid in that tender went on to forge a Zimra tax clearance certificate bearing business partner number. Those are the allegations.
So that's, and so you're saying
The state was now required to bring evidence to prove that accused person forged the certificate. And if he forged the certificates, so it means he knew they were false. And when they were presented, he already had the new.
so. If would they be guilty of fraud if they forged documents?
It's if they forged and then presented them.
You see now.
Yes,
So fraud arises from what?
from misrepresenting.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's concentrate on.
Yes, so
You know, whoever prepared those documents, according to me, is irrelevant.
it's relevant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let us zero in on who used them.
Yes. So in this case, we are saying who used the documents. It is not accused person. It is Black Deck Private Limited. The existence of that company is not in dispute.
You bring me to the question that I asked Mr. Tutel.
Yes.
You are assertive
Yes.
that it is not the accused, it is Black Deck Private Limited. But I don't have that evidence. Who is going to give that evidence?
The state has already given that evidence, my lord.
No, it has not.
But
You must understand it from a different perspective. What the state is saying is that certain people were misled into believing that they were dealing with a company. That's why they keep saying they were dealing with a company. They are still in that state of deception. You understand?
yes, I understand, my lord.
Yes.
But
So the state, what the state witnesses are saying is that, look, we dealt with this entity at various names, isn't it? That's what they're saying,
Yes.
isn't it? And the state is saying, yes, we're actually showing that they were deceived because they believed that they were dealing with a registered company. But you are saying there should be no confusion here. They dealt with Black Deck Private Limited, which has got trade names. Now, you want me to accept that? You want us to acquit him on that basis, isn't it?
yes,
You want me to encourage the assessors to acquit on that basis at this stage, isn't it?
Yes.
But who has said that to them? They will ask me, Judge, where is the evidence that who has said it? What will be my response?
no, my lord. My response to that is that if you look at paragraph 7 of
No, face me and tell me. I'm saying, if they ask me, you want us to acquit on the basis that the government dealt with breakdown, they will ask me, who said that?
my lord, we go back to the issue of what exactly is the charge. The charge is Mpofu who did A, B, C, D.
Thank you.
So if you are now to advise the assessors to acquit, you will be telling them that we were here because we have been asked to determine whether Mpofu did A, B, C, D.
Yes.
In the evidence currently before us, do we have any single witness who has alleged that Mpofu did as alleged in the charge sheet?
I see.
If there is no such evidence, then there is no reason why he should be put to his defense. Now, it is wrong for him to go to the defense so that he will talk about Black Deck Private Limited, because he does not have authority from Black Deck Private Limited to be saying anything about it.
So
and the authority can only be in
He
writing.
doesn't have to explain why he signed the agreement on behalf of. Okay, let me rephrase the question. He doesn't have to give evidence to tell us about the registration status of the entity for whom he signed or for which he signed the agreement.
Yes, my lord.
He doesn't have to.
He
tell us.
doesn't. Why I say that, my lord? He said in this defense outline, he said, I did not bid. Instead, it is the company called Black Deck Private Limited. So whatever I was doing it as part of and on instructions from Black Deck Private
Sometimes
Limited.
I think that you don't listen. You are telling me forcefully
Yes.
that he is saying, I did not do things personally. I did this on behalf of a company. You are telling me that from the bar.
Yes.
But you are not giving evidence.
Yes, I did not give you.
Yes. So who is going to say that if he doesn't say that? What is the factual basis of your submission? Because you don't make submissions. Your submissions must be riding on facts, isn't it?
Yes.
Where is the factual basis for that submission that you are making?
If you look at paragraph 7,
Where is the factual basis for the submission that you are making that he signed on behalf of the company? Where are the facts? Because you don't just come to court to make submissions from the bar. You submit on basis of evidence that is before the court. Where is that? Where are the facts?
what I'm saying, my lord, is that the facts have already been given by state witnesses. Actually, state witnesses in giving their evidence were supporting the defense case. That no, we were not dealing with Mpofu. Actually, we were dealing with a company called Black Deck Private Limited. So whatever happened, it was done by this company and not the accused person. And the state, in its response, actually acknowledges the existence of this company, paragraph 7 of its response, to say Black Deck Private Limited is registered, but the other two are not registered. So that's why we are now saying, if there was any anomaly about any document, that anomaly can only be explained not by the accused person, but by Black Deck Private Limited. In any case, my lord, I don't think it would be proper to even say there were anomalies in the Black Deck Private document, because no one, not even the investigators, not even the state, he has made an inquiry from directly to Black Deck Private Limited to say, did you have a valid tax clearance certificate for the period? Did you have a valid NASA certificate for the period? That evidence is not before the court. And to assume that those certificates are, that evidence, there has never been any inquiry directed to Black Deck Private Limited to say, okay, we note that you are a registered company. Did you have a valid NASA certificate? Did you have a valid tax clearance certificate? It's all assumptions.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So there is no reason for accused to go to his defense, because we are not sure whether the Black Deck Private Limited would say those are our documents. For one thing for sure, my lord, there is no one. Well, I understand that Zimura officials and NASA officials said those documents are not authentic. No one knows where those documents were taken from. And no one has said they took those documents from the Black Deck Private Limited bid. There is no such evidence. It can only be based on speculation. So what will be the accused person going to the defense case to do? Because evidence that the Black Deck Private Limited submitted fake certificate is excluded by operation of Section 70, subsection 3 of the Constitution. It is to allege that Black Deck submitted fake documents is to accuse it of having committed an offense.
Which Black Deck?
Black Deck Private Limited. To accuse it of having submitted fake documents is to accuse it of having committed an offense. But that evidence cannot be valid in the absence of Black Deck Private Limited itself.
Why are you even talking about Black Deck Private Limited? Are you representing it?
We are saying that, my lord, the documents, Exhibit 4 is the key document in this court.
Which is what?
Exhibit number 14.
Which is what? The bid?
The bid.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but it is the name Black Deck Private Limited. And the state witness...
Is that all that is there? Is that all that is there?
I'm still proceeding.
Yeah, well, you said it is the name.
Yes. Yes.
Is that the name that appears there?
There is a name, Black Deck Private Limited. Then there is a letterhead, Black Deck.
No. If you looked at it,
yes.
I don't want you to distort facts. What name appears on the bid?
It's Black Deck Private Limited, then Black Deck Livestock and Poultry.
Yes.
Now, we have already heard from the state witnesses that whenever we are talking of Black Deck Livestock and Poultry, we consider it to be one and the same thing as Black Deck Private Limited. So our understanding at the ministry was that it is Black Deck Private Limited that submitted the bid.
Okay.
And indeed, from the exhibit submitted at the end of before the state closed this case, it submitted a bank statement in respect of Black Deck Private Limited. And it is common cause that the ministry deposited money for the gods into the account of Black Deck Private Limited. Why? Because they knew that although we signed a contract in the name of Black Deck Livestock and Poultry, there is no such company. The actual company is Black Deck Private Limited, and it is the company with registration documents which have already been submitted. And it is the...
My thought, the state is being prejudiced by many colleagues and traders. I don't think he is still responding to what the state said. I don't know where he is coming from, where he is going in relation to the submissions that were made by the state. Now he is imploring this court on some other issues that were never raised. The state won't have an opportunity to address on that. I think if he may confine himself to respond to what the state has said, rather than begging the court to believe its case. That is not the essence of the stage at which we are now. Yes, I'm sure he wants to. He really wants to beg the court on this one. But however, if he has missed the opportunity, he has missed the opportunity. He can't keep going on and on.
Thank you.
Yes, my Lord, my issue was on the issue of causation. There has not been any evidence that Mpofu caused anything.
Have you not already said that?
Yes. Then I go on to the issue of intention. How to...
So you are conceding his point that you are now making fresh submissions. You are having another... Do you want me to rule on the objection, or you are conceding that perhaps you have gone too far?
I don't want to believe that I have gone too far, my Lord. I was just... I was
anyway, you have already made those submissions. The state has complained. Please don't go too far. Don't have another bite at the cherry.
Yes.
You are supposed actually to be responding. No. I'm not stopping you.
Yes. I'm
saying make sure, be very careful that you respond on the law usually.
Yes.
Is that not what normally happens?
Yes.
Yeah. You must be. But you see, I just let you go because. But please. Don't be too long. You're actually longer than you were in your initial submission.
Well, so the point, my Lord, is Mpofu did not have to sit at his house and source some tax clearance certificate, because he did not need a tax clearance certificate, as he was not going to submit a bid. He did not bid. Therefore, there was no need for him to sit at his home and download it from a tax clearance or NASA from the portal, because he needed none. The entity that needed a certificate was Black Deck Private Limited. Yes. And it is not a criminal offense to outsource. So when Mpofu said that in his defense, he was just saying, I'm not the one who participated, but I know the person who participated, and I know how that person obtained its documents. Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's not like he was actually placing himself at the scene of how those documents were generated. Mm-hmm. He has nothing to do with that. So that's why I'm saying, in terms of Section 11, the issue of causation, there is a disconnect. There is no conduct of him that culminated in the creation of those fake documents. Yes. So, since the state acknowledges the existence of a separate entity called Black Deck Private Limited, it was for the state then to inquire from it. After NASA had raised a red flag to say these documents are not authentic, the state should have inquired from Black Deck Private Limited to say, did you submit these documents? It did not do that. So the court therefore does not have evidence that those certificates were even submitted by Black Deck Private Limited.
No, don't speak for Black Deck Private
Yes,
Limited.
I appreciate that.
Speak on behalf of...
Yes, then the intention, there must have been an intention to misrepresent.
I think you have made your point.
Yes.
You are running the risk of contradicting yourself.
I hear you.
Because your position was made. Mr. Mpofu has no personal liability
Yes.
because the state dealt with
Black
a company
Yes.
known as Black Deck Private Limited. Can you say anything more than that?
Yes.
Is that ambiguous?
Yes. Only to say that it would be wrongful to take him to the defense case to try and induce him to say something about Black Deck. He is not a representative of Black Deck Private Limited. He has no authority to be telling the court about what Black Deck did or did not do.
I see.
Yes. Those are my submissions.
We didn't have lunch?
We did not, my lord. And we are very
Don't you think we
hungry.
deserve lunch? Mr. Maduku, you were a bystander and we deprived you of lunch. Unless you have other commitments in the afternoon, we propose to have our lunch and then we come back with our ruling.
We may be excused ourselves. We have some hearing at Quarter Street.
Very well. Yes, we promise not to say anything about your client in our ruling because your client's position is very clear. State, before I excuse Mr. Maduku and Mrs. Maduku and Mugia, it's very clear we are just dealing with application by the first accused.
Yes.
And we are not likely to go beyond that today.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can safely excuse you. Yes. We propose to take the lunch break. It's 10 to 2 or thereabouts. How much time do we require?
My lord, we have another matter that we are appearing before you in another different matter.
A criminal matter?
A civil matter, my lord.
Or the case management thing?
Yes, my lord.
Very well. Yes.
Yes. So we are appearing before yourself at 14:30. So I wanted to suggest that maybe we can then reconvene at 3.
3
after
o'clock
the
state?
case management.
That would be perfect, my lord.
3 o'clock. Very well. We will consider the. Naturally, we had read your written application and the written response to it. We have listened. We have benefited a lot from the oral submissions. We now need to finalize and come up with a decision, and the decision will be rendered at 3 p.m. But for the record, counsel for the second accused person are excused.
Indebted.
The court adjourns.
Yes.